Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am BorderWise and welcome back to... This is the second? Yes, it is the second entry in the ongoing From the Depths munition defense tutorials. And today we're covering decoys, which are not the same thing as flares simply for the sake of simplicity. They're their own thing. So, it's just only 4 blocks we're really going to be talking about this time, and that is, in the defense section, these 4 up here. And we're mostly going to be focusing on these 3, which is the heat decoy, radar decoy, and sonar decoy. But first, let's talk about chaff emitters, because I literally just before recording read the tooltip for this thing, and I'm so glad I did, because as it turns out, it did not work the way I thought it did. It got changed some time ago, and I forgot about it. So, Chaff Emitter uses materials to cover a large area with small metal strips that interfere with active radars, including both sensors and missile seekers, increasing their error. The high radar return from the chaff does increase the chance that sensors and missiles will notice something in the area. However, handy thing about the Chaff Emitter is that it burns material, so it uses 10 materials per second. If I just turn off... well, we're apparently harvesting... Nope, there we go. So you'll see it just ticking down through the materials just now. And so we're going to turn commodities back on. And you'll notice right on here it says total detection range increase is about 2,154 meters, but the total error added to active radar detection is 11.3 meters. So, radar-guided missiles are more likely to notice you, but they're also more likely to miss. And so, we're going to demonstrate that in a hot second. So, bear with me, because we're going to talk about the other things first. So, next up, we have heat decoys, radar decoys, and sonar decoys, which all work roughly the same way. They use engine power to create a false signal for heat-seeking, radar-seeking, and sonar-guided missiles to hone in on. And so it's pulled to that particular point on your craft. And so it's basically a way of pulling missiles, and only heat-seeking, radar-seeking, and sonar-guided missiles away from other parts of your craft. So you stick these somewhere that you don't mind getting blown off, and that's how they work, as opposed to, say, missile flares, which pulls the missile away from you entirely. So, there are pros and cons to using things like this. It is, I believe, more power and volume efficient than using flares, because flares you need to build a whole missile system and bring ACBs to fire it and all that kind of stuff. And, but the problem is that if you have stuff like this, because this has to be on your craft. I mean, you could have a sub-vehicle just festooned with these, but unlike a missile flare, this is a block on your ship. It can get hit. And so all that really happens is that the missiles, they still get you. It's just they get you in a specific place. So, yeah, like, and since they aren't like missile flares, they don't pull missiles away from your ship entirely. Like, once these are destroyed, the rest of your craft is still fair game. So, these are not as simple to use as they first appear. They're kind of, at first glance it seems reasonably simple. You plonk them on your craft, and, they pull missiles away from other bits, and then they work. Not so much. So, to demonstrate that, we're going to highlight the main problem with just slapping these down. So, first instinct with using these, and I will like to introduce you to this giant phallic pillar of heavy armor, which happens to have a bunch of heat and radar decoys inside it. The first instinct might be to like, okay, so we stick a bunch of them inside an armored box, missiles waste their time on that, and the rest of my craft is safe. But also, ACB rigging is very useful for them. So, basically, if there's an enemy within blah-de-blah, if there's an enemy that exists, it'll set the decoy's power to, say, 1000. What level you set them to depends on how much engine power you have and how strong a signal your craft gives off. So, little reminder, you can hit middle mouse click, go to detection, and you can just see for yourself what kind of detection signal your craft has. So, radar detection, for instance, this thing has a really high radar signal because, well, Where's it? Let's zoom all the way out. Yeah, this thing is a really high radar signal because it's got this tall lump right on the middle there. But yeah, that's how you check, and you can just set these to just activate when an enemy exists, and that way you're not burning power all the time. Super, super handy. And so, the problem with the armored box idea for decoys is that what you're pulling is missiles. And missiles tend to be very, very strong in one of two ways. Firstly, if you're getting anything like medium, large, and especially huge missiles flung at you, they hit really, really hard, and they are going to tear through armor in no time flat, and you have to ridiculously over-armor in order to withstand especially huge missiles for any length of time, and small missiles tend to come in swarms, and so it's like death by 1,000 cuts. Let's just fully repair this. I was testing it off camera. So, against large missiles, so what is a thing that lobs large missiles in? Only large missiles. Boy. So, I'm going to have to be cunning here, so let's have the palisade, and I'm going to be cunning sod, and I'm going to switch to my explosion device just to turn off the main APS, because otherwise that'll ruin my day. There we go. Alright, so, large missiles. Radar-guided large missiles. They fire. And I should probably delete all of these. There we go. And that's at 0. That's nice. And missiles are coming in, and let's just turn you off for the sake of... Alright, so, what's that? 2 layers of heavy armor? Oh, it's got cram cannons, which I forgot about. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and oh well, bugger. That's a problem. That is an issue. So you can make a better armored box than this, but to be perfectly honest with you, you don't want to stick decoys on your craft in a way that makes them easy to hit. So you do one of two things. Firstly, you stick decoys on stuff that for whatever reason you can't stick flares on. Maybe it doesn't have much room for ammunition, maybe it's got custom jets with generators on it so they can use a lot of power, or maybe they just move erratically, so they just pull the missiles towards one end of the craft, and so they get pulled off target. And this is a handy way to... Oh, no, sorry. I should show you what happens when you've got small missiles swarming at you. So you're going to see the Hornet's Nest a lot in this series, because it is the best missile spamming example. Oh, ignore this, by the way. We'll get to that. That's just there. And so each one of these small missiles that the Hornet's Nest fired, it fires a mixture of infrared and radar-guided missiles. Individually, they don't do much, but especially since like some of them have EMP on them, eventually, yeah, that's one block down. Can you not repair when I'm demonstrating stuff? Thank you. Well, now we're gonna have to do that again, aren't we? So missiles just keep coming in. They just death of a zillion cuts, and any second now the decoys are gonna. Yep, the decoys are destroyed by the looks of it. Wait for it. Yep. And now the missiles are not distracted at all because the decoys are gone. That took like less than a minute. Less than a minute for the Hornet's Nest to do that. And it's safe to assume that whenever you get missiles flung at you, it's at volumes like that. However, this is now a great opportunity to show you how this fellow works. Because, bearing in mind, a lot of the missiles flung by the Hornet's Nest are radar-guided. This thing incorporates an error of about 11 meters, which is significant, especially since this is a big pillar, but it's less than 11 meters wide. So let's see what happens. So you go here with burning materials, burning, and all the radar-guided missiles, and once again, I hate that radar-guided missiles look the same. You'll notice that an awful lot of these things are missing completely. So, they're coming around, yeah, but they're just overshooting, and they're not all hitting the same place, and that alone is helping this giant pillar, this decoy pillar, survive a lot longer. So, as it turns out, and I've literally just discovered this earlier, I'm so glad I did, that decoys tend to work best in combination with each other and with other forms of munition defense. So, it's like multi-stage. You want flares, you want chaff, and you want decoys, just so the odd chance that you get a missile that sneaks around your other defenses, it gets pulled to a specific spot that you don't mind getting blown off first, which buys the time you need in order for your craft to tear the enemy vehicle a new one, which is super, super handy. So, that's basically the gimmicks with decoys, and now we're gonna do some fun stuff with them. I told you to forget about this, now remember it, please. So, one of the ways to make decoys more effective is that instead of armoring them up, you put them on moving blocks. You put them on spin blocks, you put them on pistons, you do all kinds of groovy stuff with them. And you can do this with sonar decoys as well. So down here, sonar decoys work basically exactly the same as these decoys up here. And we're going to spawn in our friend, the Banshee, which is another great thing to test missiles on, because it's only armed with missiles, and it's got a nice mixture of radar-guided missiles and sonar-guided torpedoes. So what we've got here is a setup where when an enemy is detected, the decoys all activate, and also spin blocks start spinning. And that isn't compulsory, by the way, because you can just set the idle spin of spin blocks to whatever you like. But what this does, sticking it on a moving block, is that it messes with the missile's tracking. And you'll see here, they're kind of doing this zigzag thing. And if they have some kind of extra guidance system on them, if they have APN or TPG guidance, target predictive guidance, this really throws them off because they try to lead the target too much and they miss completely. And so these torpedoes are like pulled way off target, and against this particular speed of missile and torpedo, this works beautifully. It works absolutely wonderfully, and it is absolutely lovely. It does not work on every single kind of missile, however. So once we get rid of this, we can carry on. And these are kind of similar to distraction flares, that in that slower missiles are a better counter to them, because slow missiles are kind of too stupid to be fooled. So if you send a flare up, if you launch a flare up into space, the missile kind of starts tracking it and then loses interest and comes straight back down on your craft. Or it goes up here, the flare times out, it gets destroyed, and then if it's a radar-guided missile, it kind of just descends straight back down on you, which happens distressingly often. And this spinny decoy trick is very similar, and I will demonstrate that with our friend. I can actually use God mode for this, because it's quite useful. We're not testing durability, we're just doing other things. So our friend, the Palisade, which as it turns out does have signal processors on it, the cheeky bugger. So right over here, we've got the missiles coming in, and they are getting distracted. You see this kind of wiggling pattern is the missile trying to lead the target, or at the very least pointing straight at it. So we've got a bunch of radar and infrared decoys in here, and the problem with slow missiles is that they kind of cross the axle. So this is essentially a wheel. It's coming over here, it's spinning around the central axis, which is essentially not moving, it's staying in one stationary position. So these guys are going to turn around, and when they do come around, that's going to be a real problem for us. Actually, in this case, am I misremembering? I might be misremembering. Or I'm not misremembering. It might be the javelin I'm thinking of, and not the other thing, because if all goes well, this is what happens. Huh, the one time I do want my decoys to get destroyed, it doesn't happen. Okay, not the Palisade. Not the Palisade. That works too well. Works too well. I want the Javelin, which my mate Blarant made. And it's a shockingly effective craft, so well done, Blarant. Or at the very least, Blarant did a lot of the work on it. Alright, so huge missiles is where things get a little funky. And I believe these guys, yeah, I think these guys don't have extra guidance systems on them. Or do they? I don't know. Those might be signal processors. So, if we get in prime viewing position right here... Problem is, okay, yeah, they're being pulled around. They're being pulled around. Ah, this is working a lot better than I thought it would. Like, way better than I thought. Damn it. You coming back around? Okay, it's not freaking hell. Stop working so well. Jeez, like, I want to demonstrate your flaws now, please. That'd be very nice. Alright, Hornet's Nest, this'll do it if nothing else. Alright, so, when you get a whole mob of missiles just coming in, just like too many to count, and they go wiggle, 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 wiggle. You see, yep, we got hit. You should be seeing the little things. Yep, it just hit the axle. Yeah, so these are not foolproof. Sufficient spam can catch them. And you'll notice that... slow this way the hell down. You'll notice that occasionally, since this thing is spinning on one plane, it flings itself right into them. So it almost swats them sometimes. Yep, nope, not quite, not quite, not quite. Yep, there it is. Oh, there, Jesus, missing by... Yep, there we go. So, this is one of the reasons why you have these kind of spinny decoys. You can't have them rotate in just one plane. Or you can, they work reasonably well, but they work better... Look, right there you saw. It's, it kind of acted like a baseball bat and it just swatted them. Which is less than ideal. So really maneuverable missiles, like, I guess it's fast missiles, or maneuverable missiles, that's the problem. Or at least stuff that can come back around for another go, is the main problem for these guys. So, if you really want to get cute, you have your spin wheel decoys in more than one and this is overkill, by the way. It's a little bit overkill. And, do we have the right speed? Yes, we do. So, on the stairs. This tends to work a little bit better because it's moving in more than one plane, and it's slightly less likely to, you know, just swat missiles entirely, and it's just pulling them way off target. Okay, did get hit right there. Did get hit right there, but it's just can't catch me, can't catch me, can't catch me. Yep, there it got hit. This kind of arrangement is a little bit too bulky to stick on most craft, I think, but yeah, it's certainly reducing the amount of damage taken from the missiles. Actually, if I turn off God mode, how does that look? We're probably going to get the axle destroyed before anything else. So, this is a fair time to remind everyone that the thing with all defenses in From the Depths, active defenses especially, is that they buy you time. They don't win the fight for you, so this great big pinwheel is pulling enough of those missiles off target so that, like, whatever craft this is mounted on can essentially kill the Hornet's Nest. That is the idea. This, they buy you time, and that's kind of it. Because if the fight goes on long enough, eventually this thing will get knocked off through sheer chance, and that'll be a problem. See, right there, the axle got hit. Armor your axles, ladies and gentlemen. So, yeah. And the other thing that I believe I have mentioned is that sticking this on a small erratic craft tends to work best. So here is a really weird plane, and apologies to all people who like aesthetics. I didn't do a hell of a good job. These engines actually are an attempt of me thinking, what if I want to make a propeller plane but it actually goes fast? And it's a reasonably good start, but yeah, it's a little bit like, I hope no one gets sick from this. So anyway, I probably could use invisible mimics or something, like, you never know. In any case, this is an example of how to use these things in practice. It's like, these have very, very fast decoys on them, so it's just, let's just turn this off right here. So spin rate control, set that to 0. And you can see there's a heat decoy and a radar decoy. And this thing is just set to spin. Oh goodness, ugh. It's just set to spin really fast, and if we have our friends the Hornet's Nest, this thing scuttles along at a reasonably fast rate of 77 meters per second, spits out a lot of missiles, and the Hornet's Nest missiles, generally speaking, have no idea what to do. And we're just buying time, buying time. They usually whiff, and we have time to come back around for another go. And in a particular case with the Hornet's Nest, if you hit it from above, I believe... Where is it? Where is it? It's right here somewhere. I believe that it's easy to AI dead it from directly above, which is handy dandy. Where are we? It's not even firing at us anymore. So yeah, that's a handy thing. That allows this actually pretty darn cheap little guy to successfully take on a hornet's nest. So this fella is roughly 15,000, 16,000 maybe materials, and the hornet's nest is... well, hornet's nest is 80,000 materials, and this thing's winning. It is currently winning, especially if you activate repairs, if you've got repair bots or something. Very handy. Very handy indeed. I think it's lost a decoy, actually, so that could be counting my chickens before they hatch. So yeah, decoys, they can work, but like I said before, they're... you kind of got to be clever in how you use them. You can't just slap a prefab decoy block on your ship and just, you know, go to town. We've just lost one of our engines. Hopefully that's not too unhealthy for us, but yeah. And so yeah, use moving blocks. You can use pistons as well. You can have it extend when enemies are spotted. We're losing bits bit by bit, aren't we? Oh well, it's an even fight with a plane that's made of wood, so that's pretty decent. So yeah, that's basically it for decoys. Reasonably short tutorial, as tutorials go, only about 20 minutes. So, thank you all so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Support me on Patreon or YouTube membership if you like. It really helps. And there's fun perks in it for you. Thank you to all my current supporters, and I will see you next time in From the Depths. Munition defense tutorials, or I guess active defense tutorials. I keep forgetting what I'm titling these things. Farewell!